Welcome, guys, for the today's session. So, yeah, so today's Geek Talk Thursday is just going to introduce what is Geek Talk Thursday. Then, then, so Geek Talk Thursday is a community of developers where they learn, engage, and share knowledge. So, Geek Talk Thursday is brought to you by Apps Lab. So what we always do about just introduction, developments, code labs, talk about productivity, chat about different topics. We also do product review and launching if any of the community members requests or has any. Then open source. Yeah. Then other interesting activities. Check out this Fun Friday by Cody every Friday. There are also some local YouTube channels which we follow, and some of them are listed there. And also there's DevFest. DevFest Kenya is uh, is happening from 16th, I guess this tomorrow to is 17th, not 18th, I guess. And this time I think it's going to be huge. Is all GDGs in Kenya coming together to do some one virtual event. So you can go to Twitter and search for DevFest Kenya and follow the links out to register and everything else. Also, you can also follow occasional events on Android 254 for Kenya and Flutter. Oh, and I ought to have updated this. DredCon EMED happened last week, so sorry for that. I'll just update this later. Then you can find us on YouTube. So for every sessions we do, the videos are always there on YouTube. So we always post them a week after the session has opened. And for every other codes which are done during the sessions, times post the Kickstart organization on GitHub. So yeah, so today, like I said last week, this month is just about Flutter. So last week we had Danvik presenting. So today we're having Maureen Josephine, who is a software engineer at Carepay. And yeah, so we still have one or two more sessions of Flutter to go for this month. So we'll be sharing. Then me, who is introducing the session, I'm Magak Emmanuel, software developer from Lab. So yeah, the topic today is internationalizing Flutter apps. Yeah, so from this point, I think I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and Maureen will pick it from that point. So guys, stay around.
Yeah, thank you, Manu, for the introduction. I hope I'm audible enough. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just share my screen in a moment. Just give me a second. Wait. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Maureen Josephine, a software developer at Carepay, just as Manu has said. And I hope I'm not alone who struggles when creating these presentation slides, because I usually find it difficult to select the colors and the theme. So I hope this theme won't offend you. Yeah, so today I'm going to talk about internationalizing Flutter apps. So wait. Yeah, so this is the agenda. So I'm going to talk about what's internationalization, why do we have to internationalize apps, then how to use this Flutter plugin to internationalize apps, and how to implement it. Then there'll be a short demo, then QA, question and answer. So first things first, so what's internationalization? So yeah, let's get started. So what's internationalization? So internationalization is basically how you architect your code to make it easy to localize your text. So in this context, for example, most developers create apps using the default internationalized language, that's English. But let's think about a country like maybe Tanzania. Most of them speak in Kiswahili, and I not sorry to say, but some of them don't like understand English. But if they have like an opportunity to like translate some of the apps written in English, and they can now use it in their maybe Kiswahili or something, it could be easy enough for that. So in this session, I'm just going to introduce internationalization and how you can do it in Flutter. So yeah, so these two words that are mostly used together and confused sometimes, localization and internationalization. So first of all, localization from at a glance, you can see it's mostly written as L10N. So this L is usually the first letter, and the N is the last letter. Then the 10 is the letters in between L and N. So when you count these, there are 10. So that's what makes up L10N. And same to internationalization. I think even if you're doing Java or Angular, I hope you've met the word internationalization. So it mostly also the same way as localization. The I, sorry, the I is the first letter of internationalization, then the N is the last letter, and this 18 is usually these letters that makes up the word. So what's the difference between localization and internationalization? So internationalization is basically how you architect your software to accommodate the best practices to be developed when developing a software. But then localization comes in when now you are trying to adapt it to meet a certain linguistic or cultural belief, or maybe a time difference or date. So that's the basic difference between internationalization and localization. They're mostly used, they're somehow mostly used the same way, but there's a difference between them. So why should we internationalize apps? As I have said, mostly when you internationalize apps, you'll be able to reach like a certain audience based on their locale or anything, depending on the setting that you put in place for the app. So why should we internationalize app? First of all, it will reach a larger audience. If now the audience will be able to like use the app, maybe change the locale to what suits them best, maybe French, German, yeah, or even Kiswahili. So I'll just show you certain research by Daistimo. It states that 90% of the top apps delivered in English, but localization increasingly becoming important. So why is this important? Mostly because, for example, if you develop an app in English, but at the same time you enable the localization maybe to Spanish or to French speaking, whose English, whose language English is not their first language. So when you do that, that means now you'll be able to reach other audience, and that means you'll get more downloads for your app, and in return, like revenue. Yeah, so maybe you can, I just screenshotted this, but maybe you can go do some research on this article by Daistimo. Another reason why we should internationalize apps, this is the market overview according to, this is the market overview according to Sensor Tower. So you can see that the 33.6 billion are the worldwide App Store and Play Store downloads. And yeah, you can just see it at a glance. So these are the most downloaded apps. And according to their research, the most downloaded apps are majorly apps that allow this localization. So when you get time, you can also find, or you can also go and check the research done by the Sensor Tower. And this is their overall market analysis. So most of these apps that have like highest downloads, most of them don't specifically allow only English. That means that some of them are not written specifically in English, but allow that flexibility to be used in another language, and hence they now reach a larger audience. At the same time, get like higher revenue. And in the case now where you are building apps with Flutter, that means you're building both Android and iOS versions. But now when you also include this internationalization and localization, then you'll reach a larger audience by doing that. So I'll just go to the next agenda on how to do it in Flutter. So how can we achieve this in Flutter? So in Flutter, we have this package to implement this in Flutter. If you can see my title, this INTL is the short form for internationalization, so don't get surprised. So how should we implement this in Flutter? So first of all, you add this package, the Flutter localizations, to allow you add other locale apart from the default one, which Flutter currently has mostly apps. For example, even if you create an Hello World app, the default one is usually the US English. And this package, this Flutter localizations, supports like about 77 other languages. So I'll share the link to it. You can check out these other languages. So maybe if you want to support other languages, like maybe Kiswahili, Spanish, French, whatever, so you just add that configuration after adding this package. So after doing this, we go to the next point, that's of specifying the properties. So these additional properties, you specify them within the material app. So I'll just show you how to do that later. Then you can also do that using the Dart internationalization tools. Yeah, so I'll just show you that in a moment, sorry. So this is how you add the package to the PubSpec YAML, considering that YAML is usually case sensitive. So you make sure that you have the right format and spacing and the wordings and everything. So you add this package, Flutter localizations. Then the properties, these properties, you set them within the material app. So here is where you you add the locale. So this global material localization is what's going to call this delegate, and that's where you're going to specify the locales that you want. So in this case, the supported locales are only two. That is the English for US and Kiswahili. So for the Kiswahili, it's the current package in that Flutter localization is abbreviated as SW. So if you want to add, if you want to support Kiswahili, you write it as SW, like that. Yeah, so that's basically a short way on how to add this configuration within your material app. Then now, when you want to go further and implement this using the Dart internationalization tools. So there are these sets of commands that you have to run on your terminal. So this one, I won't run them now because it will take a lot of time, but just a snapshot of what you need to do. So you just run this first one. Sorry. Yeah, you first run this one. Then after this will extract these internationalization tools to this ARB. So it will create a folder in your main, in the root of your app, that is the lib main.dat. So in this case, it will create this folder. It's indicated as L10. And as I had previously said, that L10 means localization. That's L is for the first letter of localization, and N is the last. Then 10 is the number of letters within the localization. So when you first run this, it will create this ARB folder. Then for you to now generate other messages for translation, you run this second command, and this is only preferred for those with Linux or any other apart from Windows, because Windows can't accept the wildcard. This is this star here. So for the Windows guys, you'll have to run the last command, then you'll have to configure the rest. So I think maybe I'll share the slides later on. If you want to check more on this, here's the link. From the documentation, you'll get the exact steps on what to do. Sorry. So here are some of the links that you can use. So this first link is the one for the library. Maybe I can just click it. Yeah, so it has a list of different localization for different places, languages. So this one is for Czech, Danish, German, and it's abbreviated as DE. So let me just scroll down to Swahili, because I think most of you will be familiar. So for Swahili, it's abbreviated as SW. So let me just open it. Yeah, and if you want to implement it, maybe you can just read briefly about it from here. And then now you can localize different date formats and every other thing that you need. You can all do this. So let me just click one. Yeah. Yeah, and you'll get this. It's usually based on the ARB file that is generated from the other previous command that I've shown you. So let me randomly, it has gone back. Sorry. Yeah, so that's basically it. You can check this out at your own time. Yeah, there are so many of them. Yeah, this is the one I was looking at here. So maybe let me just check this alert. So you see, it's indicated it as arifa. So if you are a Kiswahili person, you might know what this arifa means. Yeah, so let's go back. Wait. Just a moment. I need to get my slides. Wait, I can't see my slides. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so these are some of the links. Then the next one is this one for, yeah, it's exactly the same link that I've just navigated to. The one that's showing the material localization for Swahili, that is the SW. You can check it later. Then this is the package for that internationalization. You can also check it at your own time. So yeah, that's it. So let me just show you something brief that I did. Yeah, so here is the app. I hope you can still see my screen. Yeah, so here is a sample Hello World app that I implemented this internationalization and localization. So you can see I also added this locale within the material app, where I have both English and Kiswahili, but then my default support locale is English, and other supported locales are both English and Swahili. So you can clearly see it. It's just this only. Then the other files that were generated, that is the other command that is shown, are automatically generated here. So you can easily see what's going on. So let me just go back and run it. So when you press English, it shows how are you, and when I press Kiswahili, it shows the other word for this greeting, how are you, that's habari yako. So that's basically it for now. Yeah, and then this other file, the L10N file, is what is usually it's generated when you run that internationalization tools command. So it will generate these files, then you can customize them to what you want, or any message that you want to display. So this is generated when you run that command. Then I can also show you what we have in the pub spec, where now we place this Flutter localization here to make it run. Yeah, so basically that's it, and this is just the dummy app for it. But then you can as well explore more on this and include it in your normal development to reach out to a larger audience and to reach out to your market, and in turn generate more revenue. Yeah, so basically that's it from me. So let me just go back to my slides. Yeah, do we have any questions up to now?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you leave it to that command. I'm not a Flutter developer, so it can be a naive question, but mostly maybe from Android, how you do it is like have your strings defined, and then for each and every language you want to support, you have to like manually translate them. So you don't have to do like the same in Flutter. You leave it to do that command to generate like all the messages.
So what I mean, let me just go back to that command next. Yeah, so when you first run this command, it will generate the message ARBs for you. So what you need to do is customize now the message. It comes with this temp. Sorry. Not this one. Let me just expand this kidogo. Yeah, so for every other string you customize it yourself, but this file is generated when you run the command, when you first run the Flutter command to generate these ARBs. But then for the string messages, you write them. Yes, I'm just trying here. So you can customize the message that you want to put in place, like this. Habari yako is the same one I have here. So I think we can also get other insights from any other person. But that's all I can say. Do we have any other person who has another way on how to implement it, or maybe how to help answer Harun's question?
I think you've answered. I was wondering whether it generates like for you automatically, but you have explained that you have to add like the messages yourself.
Yeah. But I was also wondering, like, how can it be maybe made better by automatically like generating the message for you? For example, if you have like a big many wordings to put in place, is there like a way in which we can maybe improve the package or something to generate those strings for you, other than just writing them yourself? Do we have any other person with such insights? Is there like any possibility of making it, or how is it done in Android, Harun?
I think automating it will be quite hard because there is loss of context once like you automate something like that. A sentence in English cannot mean like, once you directly translate it, cannot mean like the same. Even once you do like on Google Translate, you'll find that most of meaning can be lost. So you have to like do it manually and also cross-check if the same meaning is like, is the same meaning you intended with maybe English is the same meaning across all those languages. So in Android, there is no simpler way. As I told you, you have to define like, in case you want to support like 10 languages, you have to you have to add like strings XML and then hyphen the language. So strings, maybe US, strings, Germany, that way, and then translate each and every string in your app. So for example, if you had like 200 of them, you have to also like have 200 of them in the either language and the translation. So there is no easier way in Android also.
Yeah,
That's why I was
because
surprised.
yeah,
In case in
because I was
Flutter, you just like do that command and then it generates all those messages for you.
no, what that command does, it generates these first two folders, then you create these other two files by yourself, then modify the string to what you want to be shown, as it's shown here. So for Kiswahili, I wrote this habari yako, then for English is this how are you, this one. So on pressed, it just shows that. Do we have any other question? yeah, if we don't have any other question, then I have a question for you, for anyone else. So I have this question. So I usually think maybe Tanzanians, no, let me ask this first. So what language do Tanzanians write their app with? Do they write it totally in Kiswahili and maybe translate it in English, or do they write it in English then translate to Kiswahili? So do we have insights on that?
They write it in English because most programming languages are in English. The only thing you can do is maybe method names and method stroke functions or variables, naming them in Kiswahili, at least.
What I mean is like the total app UI, do they like put those wordings in English or Kiswahili?
I think it will be English, and then have a Kiswahili version of the app.
Okay. Oh, so that's great to know. I have another question too. So how many of you have their apps in Play Store and already have them internationalized? So the silence means no one. Okay. So I think that's all for today. So I'll toss it back to Manu.
Just maybe
Thank
one
you.
last question.
Uh-huh.
So if you have messages, you will continue adding them to this file. So for the English ones.
Yeah.
So for
Is it
example,
the
you
same
have
way?
like another message like I'm fine. You'll just add it to this line, to maybe this file.
Yeah, I'll create another variable for it, then add it just below it.
Okay.
How is it done in Android?
Same thing.
Okay.
Same concept where you have like mostly it's in XML, like the string name as I don't know, a string name, then how
The
are you?
value.
Yeah, the value, and then you have all of them in one file.
Yeah, that's the same way in Flutter too. So the beauty of localization is you can localize even the time difference and dates. So it will help your users maybe who are not, whose language English is not the first language, to be able to know like the time difference and look and the dates and time. Yeah, I think that's all for now. Thank you.
I think with that, thank you. Thank you, Maureen, for your time. So if there's no any questions, I'll just stop the recording. See, I think we're okay. Thank you, Sana. Thank you, Sana, Maureen, Josephine. So for the next session we have will be Frank Tamre on 29th, but we might have a session on 22nd. Hii session hata napea Kendi. Kendi.
Sama.
We'll talk about having a session 22nd, sindio?
22nd of this month.
Acha hiyo tutaongea baadaye.
Tutajua. Don't ambush me yet.
So I'll just stop the recording then, maybe. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for attending for today's session. So the video will be out next week on Thursday.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maureen, for the session. It was amazing.
Awesome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.